palavra o professor Yaron Edel, que vai falar sobre disrupção e oportunidades, universidades e inovação em Israel.
Antes dele começar, quem tiver dificuldade no aparelho de tradução é no canal 2. E qualquer coisa, levantem a mão que o pessoal da BMS vai até você ajudar, ok?
You hear me? Okay. Hi, everybody. I want to thank Jean-Guy and the whole ABMS staff to invite me here. It's a great honor for you to look at Israel the way that you describe it. Hopefully this talk will match your expectations. I have to say, before coming here to Brazil, I met a lot of my colleagues, in the startup ecosystem just to build this presentation, and everybody were really excited of the opportunity to build bridges, academical bridges and business bridges between Israel and Brazil. So hopefully there will be a kickstart to this. Just quickly to talk about the agenda, I'm going to speak, but before. I wanted to start my presentation from this diagram. I mean, it's the floor plan for the Apple Park in Cupertino, was opened in 2017, last year. Big investment, $5 billion investment in this building. Just the real estate was $160 million. The point I want to make using this is simple. Big companies invest in workers today. Today, the job market is focused on workers. Companies put a lot of money and a lot of effort in order to build great work environments. And that means that the worker who cannot compete in this very competitive workforce has a problem. And I would say that give our next workers tools and opportunities to compete is the mission of higher education all over the world. So basically, I'm saying that when we look at the future of the work environment, we see the role of higher education in it. So the three main ideas I want to share with you today is, first of all, to talk to you about the disruption that's happening in pedagogy, and I'm not talking about academics or K-12. In pedagogy specifically, how do you teach? The second idea I want to share with you is the opportunity that this disruption brings to us. There are new pedagogical ideas who are in the making, and we can take advantage of those. The third idea is how can it be done? We're talking about new ideas, and in order to build new ideas, you need to have in your institution somebody who is responsible of bringing new ideas inside, which is the innovation unit. So basically, this is what I'm going to talk for you today. I'm going to make a quick introduction of myself. I've been 10 years in the high-tech and entrepreneurship scene, done different things. Basically, I also failed a lot, which I love to tell. Had 2 startups who closed. That was a really rough ride and very learning. In the last 2.5 years, I ran the education department at the Israeli Innovation Institute. Our role was to understand how technology impacts, in my case, education. And what we did in order to understand that is we look at supply of innovation and demand of innovation. When you look at the supply of innovation, you look at the startups ecosystem. You look at what solutions are being built. You look at what investment are being made, because it also gives you good indication. And on the demand side, you look at how institution can incorporate innovation within their institute. So this is what I've been basically doing. There are a few pictures, doesn't matter. I'm gonna jump over this. On a personal level, just I prefer for you to know that I'm a person as well, and not a PowerPoint. So I was born in Jerusalem. I moved to Tel Aviv 3 years ago. I'm divorced. I have 2 cats. Next week, when I'm landing back in Tel Aviv, I'm going to get a service dog, a Labrador. because I have PTSD. I've been 5 years in the army. I served in an infantry unit in different capacities as an officer. And during the experience of the Second Lebanon War in 2006, I got PTSD, which is one of the things I'm struggling with. And on a personal level, I'll do a lot of artistic stuff. I wrote a book about Lebanon, about my experience in Lebanon. I do music. I like to experience stuff. I like to do stuff. Okay, so let's jump right in. I suppose you know those guys, right? Obviously. Kodak had like a 90% share market 20 years ago of the photography market and disappeared. Now, I do not want to make the point that higher education or education is going to be Kodak, because education cannot die as opposed to a company, right? Education is a very strong cultural idea we have, so it can continue to be mediocre for a long, long, long time. It doesn't have a real need to change, as maybe some business can push institution to change, but in terms of value, doesn't really need to change. And take the Kodak analogy, understand that even though education cannot die, it has to change and adapt to this new world we're entering in. The disruption is nothing new. I suppose you're even more you know more of what's happening today in education in your institution. Obviously, you all talk about the new policies coming from the education ministry. Obviously, it's a thing that's worldwide. There's a clash between universities and policy and stakeholders. We have problems with enrollments. In some countries, enrollments are going down. We have problems of dropout, right? Those are the classic indicators of a disruption, but I would like to offer you a new look on this disruption, and specifically I want to take the entrepreneurial state of mind. As an entrepreneur, a failed one, I look at higher education's product and I ask myself how the users of this product behave. Because if I was an entrepreneur trying to raise money and I bring this data to my investors, they won't invest because the users are not behaving the way that I want as the product owner. And specifically when I'm talking about higher education, I like to give 3 examples. First of all, a lot of students are cutting class, right? A lot of students are cutting class. Why? Different reasons. Basically, they find value somewhere else. They find value somewhere else. Most of the time they need to work. This is the biggest value they need to bring, right? But not at all, not only. They just think that class can be skipped. Okay, so this is one problem in the higher education product. The second one is the binge culture. You know the word binge from Netflix, which is the king of binge, right? When you look series and stuff. It's the way I learn in university. Students wait for 3-4 days before the test, and then they learn. This is not a learning behavior I like. I mean, this is not what we wanted them to do, but this is how students learn. And the third example, which I personally think is the most dramatic, people finish higher education and they are lost in the real world. A lot of young people say they finish their degree and they feel, okay, now what? And this is a worldwide problem. And if you look at higher education from an entrepreneurial point of view, you see there is a problem in the product. The user don't use the product as we want them to do. Students don't want to learn, they want degrees. That's the thing. I mean, we want to teach them, right? But they want degrees. They want degrees. This is what they want. They do not want to learn. So from a product point of view, we should rethink how we look at education. I'm going to do a quick jump in K-12 just to give you the basic ideas of this disruption. And this disruption occurs because of the meeting between technology and pedagogy. And when I'm talking about technology, it's not only the phones and the tablets, it's also the culture. The new culture we're in. People expect different things today. A worker stays 2 years or 2.5 years in a workplace and moves on. He expects something new, and this culture brings really a big disruption in the whole world. So, the first idea, which is very interesting, very technological as well, is personalization. How do you take a learning process and tailor to a specific student? This is maybe the biggest thing that student wants today. They want what they need. And this picture is actually a picture of a challenge that's been launched last year in Israel with the $1 million prize to build a personalized product. How do you bring personalization into schools? Basically, on a pedagogical level, we're talking about curiosity-focused learning, meaning the learner itself learns with his curiosity. Nobody else tells him what he wants to learn, but his curiosity tells him what he wants to learn. Custom-made curriculum, meaning you do not have one single curriculum for each and every. You need to build custom-made curriculum, and that's lead to personal accountability in student behavior, meaning students want to learn because they feel they are entitled, they own the process. The second shift, which is relevant to this room, and in my personal opinion, the most important one, is the shift of the educator's role. The shift from a knowledge giver, from a Wikipedia page, to a learning enabler. What I'm trying to say, I'm going to say through this example, this is my mother, Ghislaine. We went to Portugal in April. This is a picture from Porto. My mother was a teacher for 40 years, and she told me a story which I think really gets the whole idea. She teaches biology, and she wanted her students to learn. So what did? She told her students, each student write 2 questions and 2 answers. Each student write 2 questions and 2 answers. We all bring all those things into one big question pool. I will choose 80% of the test from this question pool, and 20% I will write the question. What happened? If you learn, you get 80, right? Because you have the questions and answers. All the questions and all this, you just need to go and you learn. So obviously the grades went up, but that's not the point. The point is that the culture in the class shifted, changed. The children felt responsibility for their learning. And this is just a quick example of how we changed we do not need to be specialists in a field. We need to be specialists in how we let other people learn our specific field, right? It's a different point of view. So we, obviously, standardized curriculum has a problem. That's a problem. We talked about the system not creating value, and teaching is not about knowing a topic, it's about letting other people learn. The third characteristic of this disruption is data-driven decision-making. When you take high-tech and technology approach to education, you have a whole new layer of data that you didn't have before. Just think, you can analyze the way people learn. How each and every individual in your class learn. They learn differently, obviously, right? Just to put some different devices and learn about these things. You can try and you can measure soft skill. How cooperation is happening in your class. Cooperation, in my opinion, is maybe the most important 21st century skill. It's not about the individual anymore, it's about the team. So how cooperation is happening in your class. This is important to measure. Technology helps us do that. Obviously, we can measure social behavior, cognitive development, even physiological things. You can put some things in the chair and see if I sweat, and if I sweat, that means that. So this is some, future stuff. Just to close the argument, those three students from the Hebrew University with the mayor of Jerusalem won a hackathon we did 2 years ago. And what they developed is a tool that helps evaluate the effectiveness of educational programs. Each institution have a lot of educational programs, and it's hard to understand if they are good or not, right? It's hard to understand if they are efficient or not in achieving their pedagogical goals. So they build a database system will does that. So this is the three things that are happening today in pedagogy, and just to make the argument simpler, I want to argue that there is a shift, a paradigm shift in education today, that we are still learning it. It's a paradigm shift from education to learning. And I'll try to explain. Education, and in all education system, it's the same idea. You have a specialist or somebody with more experience, tell somebody with less experience what they need to learn, right? This is education. Basically, this is how all the systems are designed. All the systems are designed the same way all over the world. But when we talk about learning, it's a process we do it ourselves, right? It's something we do it ourselves. So if we learn, we know. If we didn't learn, we know as well. So the argument is that we're shifting from an education paradigm to a learning paradigm. And I'll try in the next 15 minutes to show it to you. Okay, so we talked about the disruption, we talked about what's happening today, so let's see what's the opportunity right here. And as I started my presentation saying that I met different friends from the ecosystem in Israel, so the main conversation I had with them is to try and define what is happening, what is the opportunity here. And so we chose together 7 different companies that help us understand the 3 main ideas that this new pedagogy is bringing, specifically to higher education. So we're talking about non-frontal learning, which is easier to do in K-12. It's more complicated to do in universities and higher education. Self-curation of knowledge. This is also a big trend. People are, I mean, in Israel, it's a phenomenon, are less going to higher education because they go and build their own process of learning. They want to be entrepreneurs, doesn't matter what they want to do. The third thing is that the topics itself, the subject matters are changing from knowledge, to experience. Meaning the role of higher education, it's not to give knowledge, it's to give experience. It's a different state of mind. So let's jump into the first one. So this is the first company is an easy example. Speakingpal, it's 4 or 5 years old. It's a mobile device personal English speaking tutor. When you think about education, when you learn a second language, there is an emphasis on writing and reading, right? But when you think about 21st century, you need to talk. That's the thing. Before you need to read, before you need to write, you need to talk. When you have a conversational skill in English, it opens you a lot of options. So this is the problem Speakingpal try to tackle. They use natural language and machine learning technology in order to build this technology. I just put the video for you to see like the idea. So basically what they did, they took the English language, they divided in different subjects. You're gonna see it in a second. Here you can see. If you're a traveler, then you need a certain conversational skills. If you want to do business, you need different language, right? So they build a different language curriculum, and each curriculum can be tailor-made to each and every one of the learners because it uses technology and understand the way you learn and you continue. Right? I can go into the details, but you know, if you're interested, I'd love to send you materials afterwards. It's also a award-winning in the technology. Very high-end technology. Second example is Annatto. When I was looking at coming to Brazil, obviously the biggest educational challenge that Brazil have is big numbers of students or potential students, right? How you can make a nation so big to be with more education, because you have a lot of places who are far away, and it's hard to build physical places. So obviously distant learning is a big thing here, right? A lot of you people really into distant learning. And what Annatto does, the problem in distant learning that you learn alone, right? You sit in front of the computer and you just get the knowledge, right? Kind of the same thing like in class. So what Annatto does, it creates the video and turns it into an interactive group experience learning. How do they do this? It's quite simple. They take the timeline of the video and they put in each timeline possible of asking questions and creating discussions on the video. And in that way, you can stop the video, you can start a conversation with somebody who's watching with you the video on the specific second as you see, and it helps you. Now, it also gives you another opportunity, not only for the student, but for the content owner as well. Think of it. You know which videos are effective and which videos are not effective. You know they are not effective in which specific second because there is a lot of questions. Or doesn't matter how you interpret the data, but it helps you transform your learning into more and more specific to your need, to your academical need. So this is Annatto. There is an ongoing research by the Open University, an independent research who is looking into how Annatto changes the culture in their online platform. And their preliminary results that talk about increased engagement and higher retention in the videos. It's only preliminary, but I know Annatto since the beginning. I just love their technology and their idea. It's a simple idea, but it's really groundbreaking. Also, they really believe that learning is a group experience, which is, I just like this idea. Okay, foreclass. Foreclass is a professor-developed solution. We have Professor Gadalon, which is a business professor at Northwestern at the Kellogg Business School. And he found out in this class that they have a big problem of engagement and accountability of the students. By engagement, I mean that people just play on their computer, and by accountability, I mean people don't do the homework and they do not know what's happening in the class. So God built a very impressive entrepreneurship team. They built a product which is a real-time class managing software, which helps, let's see if the videos will be good. Just a second, can you jump 10 seconds into the video? Yeah, because this is Gadalon. More, give me another 10 seconds. You have like screenshots of what's happening. So you have like a debate in the class. You have a debate in the class. Everybody on the mobile device answer the question. Then you get a screenshot of what the answers of everybody were. And you can start and ask specifically students why they answered that and why they didn't answer that. And what does it allow? Let's see. Okay, so what also it allows an offline option to understand how your student behaved in class and what kind of content you need to build. It bring you analytics of what's happening in your class. So this is for class. Can you pass to the next slide? Yes. Yeah. Okay, thank you. So this is foreclass. What I love about foreclass is that they really try to measure what is learning. It's not only how I give the knowledge, it's also what the student did with their knowledge. And the accountability and engagement part is critical in learning, obviously. This is one of the most technological advanced startup, in my opinion, called Sense. Sense is also a professor-developed software. Ronen Talbotzer is a professor in the Bar-Ilan University in the computer science department. And he had a different problem than Gadalon. His problem was that he served 200 students and it cannot give personalized advice and feedback to their exercises. because it's a big, so you did quickly with, and that's a problem. He wanted his student to really learn and understand how they learn. So as a computer science professor, what he did, he developed a software. And what his software does, it categorizes patterns in his students' questions. The assumption is that each and every test has, let's say, 7 or 8 group of possible answers. You have 200 students and you can categorize them in different groups of answers. And then when you identify it, you can give personalized feedback to those groups. And this is how a group looks, you see, so it's building blocks that looks a bit different because every answer obviously is a bit different. But you have group of answers who use the same method to answer the question. So in that way, you can automatize personalization. Each group think of it. You do not need to do like 200 feedback. You do 7 feedback, and each and every one of the feedback will be more in depth, obviously. So it's better feedback. So this is Sense. Their machine learning technology is really cutting edge. I mean, a lot of big companies are looking around them because of their technology, natural language processes, and so on and so forth. Okay, so now we're gonna get a bit more extreme. This is Eureka World. I love those guys. They are crazy guys. What they did, they built a gamified environment for education. What do I mean by a gamified environment? It's an open world platform. Open world is it's a gaming word. It's a world when you can do everything. Everything is open to you. And they build their challenges and scenarios, educational scenarios. Let me just be a little bit clearer. Okay, so this will be the user. Let's see in a second. Okay, this is user. He is in a virtual world. See, it says to us hello. And this is how you can build scenarios, just for you to understand. This is your user, for example. And you build different scenarios. I'll give you a specific example in a second. And this is how a world will look, low budget world will look afterwards. This is specific an environment of a school in Jerusalem. So the student just go and play in the world and do educational things. Now let me do the connection to higher education. Bet Berl, which is a college in Israel, is piloting this environment this year. And the most cutting edge idea I heard is a criminology professor who is building a prison in the world for the student to use during the whole semester. Now the prison will be, some of the students will be guards, some of the students will be inmates, and they'll have different scenarios to work on through the year. In my idea, this is groundbreaking, because this is how education should be. If you learn criminology, you should learn it in a prison, right? That's obvious. So this is just an example. I can give you another example. You have biological, you have biology and you have computer science, and you want the students to cooperate. How can you bring the two different subjects working together? You build a challenge in this world to bring them together and train cooperation and train learning how to talk to a computer scientist or to a biologist, which is something we do not learn. I learned law, but nobody told me how to talk to people during, which is the most important skill for a lawman. Okay, this is really like hands-on in my idea. When we talk about experience over knowledge, we talk about the incubation. There is a big scene in the higher education in Israel to connect to technology, obviously. So each university wants to have an accelerator. That's nothing new. We have the same here in Brazil. But I want to focus on the Jerusalem-specific case study. The Jerusalem case study, which is different for the whole case study, this is a student union-based accelerator, meaning not the university build it, but the students build it. And why is so important? Because students are running it, are running the accelerator. Last year, they built a venture capital led by students. So the idea is give experience and not knowledge. So those students will be able to fail in a safe environment and learn the very important lesson in order to be, in that case, entrepreneurs or an investor. So this is the portfolio of this VC. It's a nice portfolio. It's not, the idea here is not business. It's not a business idea to make money. It's a pedagogical idea, how to teach people. The last example I'm going to give is Jolt. We heard the Brazil national anthem before, and I was caught by one line in your national anthem, and I asked what the meaning is, as Brazil is the flower of the new world, right? This is a line in the anthem. So Jolt, they present themselves as the school of the new world, and what do they have? Their approach is different. First of all, they have a pedagogical, physical approach, which is different. How you build a class. So in this video, you're gonna see a class. There is customly built. It's not a classical. Class. They built custom-made equipment for this class. You see the Jolt table, right? And you have a video conferencing. Can you pause the video, please? Can you pause the video now? No. Yeah. Okay. The point is that can you pause the video now? No. Okay, doesn't work. Okay. What I wanted to show you is the video conferencing. The video conferencing device that they built. The pedagogical idea behind the video conferencing is that the expert who is doing the lecture is only 20 minutes. That's why it's not the center of it. The center is actually the table. 20 minutes you'll have the lecture, and 40 minutes you'll have a curator, which is not the lecturer, would help you learn. Now, this pedagogical idea is not groundbreaking, right? I did not tell you something new. I think it's nice, but their big, I think, breakthrough is actually in subject. So you can see again how it works. This is it's a quick presentation. Obviously, one material can show you more. This table is custom made in each and every one of their campuses. They have a campus in London and a campus in Tel Aviv. Can you help me pass to the next slide? Okay, this video is the video of the mobile app. It's the way that a student obviously interact with the campus. You just log in and choose what you want. Obviously, UI and design is very important for the user experience, meaning they take this very, very seriously. But as I said, it's not like the their big idea, in my opinion, is what they teach. They teach subjects that are not codified yet, academically codified yet. They look at those jobs of the new world and try to teach them. For example, entrepreneurship. Or for example, a better example are freelancers. I suppose some of your institutions teach graphic design, right? But I would argue that nobody teach how to be a freelancer in selling services of graphic design, right? That's the most important part of business that's not taught anywhere. So they look at those non-academic codified jobs and try to teach them. For example, community management, which is a big buzzword today in the technological area. They teach how you do communities. Career change. Career change is something very important in your long life achievements. How do you do that? It's also something they do. Their assumption is that each student has more than one possible future. And that assumption is very interesting in the way that they build. First of it, it's not as academia, you go to 3-4 years, and this is what you do for the 3-4 years, right? They see, no, that's not the way you should learn. You should learn lifelong learning, meaning you take classes all the time. And you can take classes in each subject you want. If you go to a biology class, then to an art class, that's okay, and you'll get academic point for it. Okay, you have a self-curated curriculum. So in my idea, the way that I look at this new knowledge is really the groundbreaking thing, because there are a lot of subject matters which are critical today, and we do not address them in higher education. Okay, so to finish my presentation, it's my last slide. I presented to you a lot of ideas today, right? There are, big ideas and practical ideas. Ideas are great, but for organizations, the problem is not to finding good ideas, is how to implement them. That's the biggest issue. And I would suggest for each and every one of you to think about how you build an innovation unit, which mission is to do change management within the institution. How do you manage the change you want to create? And specifically, 3 tools should be used. First of all is idea development, understanding that those ideas are young and need to be further developed. The second one is an open innovation platform. Open innovation platform as opposed to closed innovation platform. Let me do the two compare. A closed innovation platform is a platform where you build your own solution for yourself. It's closed innovation. Open innovation is you look for solution outwards. So you can do closed innovation, it's cool, but open innovation is really what can change, because there is a lot of great solutions out there in the world and you can use them inside your organization. So you need to know which needs you have, which solution exists, and the most important, how you implement it. Because the way that you implement it is, it's everything. And we go to the third one, is creative communities. In Tel Aviv, I said a thing that I really believe in, that when you talk about innovation, you should not work with everybody. Not everybody is ready for innovation. You need to identify your early adapters and group them and work with them over time. So one of the missions of this innovation unit is to run and identify those early adapters and group them into communities. An innovation unit is something that should be taken into account, because this new world is, as I said in the beginning, education will not die. It will just evolve or dissolve in a small pace. So in order for you to really prepare your students for this new world, I would urge you to think about how you change your organization. What is the change you need to do, and manage this change. Thank you for listening. Thank you.
Obrigado, professor Yaron Edel. Excelentes considerações sobre inovação, especificamente no processo pedagógico. E queria passar a palavra para o professor Celso para fazer algumas considerações sobre a conferência.
Muito bom. Então, são rápidas considerações, até porque o professor Yaron Edel deu um apanhado geral que faz refletir muitas das questões que ele levanta. Não sei se todos tiveram a sutileza de perceber nessa rápida apresentação. O primeiro ponto que eu queria destacar é o comentário dele de que a educação não pode morrer. O que ele quis dizer é que uma empresa nasce e morre, mas muitas vezes a sala de aula ela morre uma morte lenta, que é a mediocritização, né? A nossa educação medíocre, ela vai indo. Ninguém mata ela também não prospera. Então é uma morte lenta, é uma morte agoniante, caso não haja de fato uma disrupção. E essa situação que ele destacou tão bem é uma situação onde os alunos não querem aprender. Hoje eles querem o diploma. O foco está mais no ensino do que na aprendizagem. A sala de aula chega a ser dispensável para os alunos, né? Eles buscam outras alternativas. Eu fiquei impressionado com a informação de que lá em Israel os potenciais estudantes já estão buscando outras alternativas que não a universidade. E na pesquisa que ele fez, ele identificou 3 tendências: a personalização cada vez maior, a mudança do papel do professor, que não é mais aquele que ensina, mas é aquele que facilita a aprendizagem, e o uso intensivo de dados. de inteligência artificial, de machine learning, para garantir que, de fato, a gente possa dar àquele estudante o que ele, na verdade, precisa, e não aquela visão massificada que nós temos. Portanto, na visão dele, temos que sair de uma educação, foco na educação e ensino, para o foco na aprendizagem. Ele nos trouxe 7 exemplos, que certamente nós vamos querer os links para pesquisar depois, de empresas inovadoras, que já estão mudando o cenário, sempre numa coisa muito interessante. Está aqui um problema, está aqui uma solução. Né? Esse é o ponto da cultura da startup, do ecossistema. Quer dizer, o foco é qual é a sua dor, eu vou resolver com tecnologia. E ele trouxe 7 boas soluções que vão dar o que falar. Por fim, ele faz um destaque que já havia feito durante a nossa apresentação lá em Israel. A questão não é ter ideias. A questão é como implementar essas ideias, como fazer com que elas, de fato, aconteçam na organização. E é essa reflexão que nós temos que fazer. É a gestão da mudança, que é muito mais importante do que a inovação em si. Porque, sem ela, a inovação, dentro da realidade de cada instituição, não vai acontecer. E ele destaca o papel dos early adopters, daqueles que são os primeiros a adotar a tecnologia, trabalhar com eles, trabalhar com comunidades criativas, mas principalmente, e aí eu resumo a minha visão, a aceitação da falha. Ele nos falou várias vezes que errou várias vezes na vida dele como empresário e fala isso feliz da vida, né? Porque nós temos um pouco da cultura brasileira de que é sucesso e sucesso e sucesso. E as nossas falhas a gente empurra para baixo do tapete. Mas falhar é humano. Na verdade, falhar na cultura do startup é desejável. Deve-se buscar a falha ativamente, porque ela é um instrumento de crescimento. Então, eu queria sintetizar essa visão e passar para o Daniel. Acho que ele quer fazer também alguns comentários.
É que eu estava comentando aqui com o Janguier no decorrer da palestra, que eu fiquei muito empolgado com a tua palestra. Principalmente porque a gente viveu uma transformação enorme em 2018. E eu acho que é o embrião de uma transformação que está por vir em 2019. Se a sociedade toda está mudando, a tecnologia está fazendo com que a gente mude numa velocidade muito grande, eu acho que o grande desafio das universidades é serem os protagonistas de uma sociedade que está em transformação. Essa é a nossa responsabilidade, enquanto ABMES, de ajudar o Brasil, nesse momento, a transformar o Ministério da Educação, ajudar a contribuir para essa transformação, para que, efetivamente, as nossas instituições de ensino e os nossos professores sejam os artífices dessa transformação que, efetivamente, o Brasil precisa. Israel é um país que nos ensina, você colocou sobre não ter medo de errar, né? E isso, na verdade, pode ser traduzido em resiliência. O povo judeu tem como essência, tem como DNA essa resiliência. E, por outro lado, eu realmente acredito que a universidade, eu falo que é um ecossistema inigualável pelo poder de transformação que a gente tem da sociedade. Então, de um lado, a gente tem que se transformar, a gente tem que se reinventar. O papel da ABMES é ajudar e contribuir para que realmente o Brasil seja o Brasil que a gente espera, e isso só vai acontecer através da educação. Então, eu acho que 2018, pela transformação toda, foi espetacular a gente ter ido para Israel, né? E eu espero que 2019 a gente comece com a pujança, com a força, com a garra da China. Então, a gente indo para a China se inspirar. Que a gente tenha a resiliência de Israel, a determinação dos chineses, a criatividade, efetivamente, do brasileiro, para que a gente possa fazer essa transformação. Então, eu queria desejar um extraordinário ano de 2019 e a gente vai estar aqui junto. Né, Janguier? Obrigado.
Exatamente. Agora, a professora Débora.
Só completando o que os meus colegas colocaram, eu acho que completando mesmo, porque todos já falaram bastante coisa relevante, mas eu queria só destacar do que o Daniel falou, e aí a gente trazer para dentro das nossas instituições a questão da análise dos nossos currículos, da customização do currículo, como o professor Israel disse, e a gente trazer para dentro, trabalhar juntos com os professores, buscar essa customização, buscar o foco no aluno, buscar esse foco no mundo externo que a gente tem aí, para para poder atrair o que nós temos de melhor internamente e externamente. A questão que ele falou, importante, né, eu acho que foi uma coisa bem importante para mim, dessas salas interativas, o mundo é o limite, ou seja, nós podemos, sim, buscar o mundo para atrair as novas ideias. Então, eu acho que é dentro do nosso dia a dia, do nosso trabalho, da customização do currículo, avaliar o nosso aluno, buscar o foco do aluno e aí levar para transformar, para buscar novas ideias, para resolver problemas do nosso mundo, do nosso Brasil. Então, é isso que eu gostaria de completar o que meus colegas disseram. Obrigada.
Obrigado, professor Celso, professora Débora, professor Daniel. E agora, a palavra está com vocês. Ludmila. Sim, perguntas.
Na pergunta, um pequeno comentário aqui. Estou feliz que Yaron aqui, isso é resultado da nossa delegação na Israel, mas eu convido todos de vocês a chegar no nosso site e olhar no reporto com muitos detalhes e contatos sobre nossos contratos na Israel. É porque nós fazemos muitos trabalhos e você pode olhar todos os contatos, todos os detalhes, todas as ideias que nós pegamos na Israel. Muito obrigada.
Ao parabenizar a ABMES pelo evento, eu queria ser bem sucinto e fazer uma colocação, uma pergunta. Aqui no Brasil nós temos um sistema de ensino que, se a gente fosse fazer uma metáfora com o sistema de produção industrial, a gente teria aqui um sistema que é um prazo determinado, fixo, com qualidade indeterminada, flexível. A gente tem um tempo com os alunos e o final desse processo a gente tem alunos de as mais variados níveis de formação. E a gente utiliza ainda médias aritméticas de nota para aprovar aluno, que é algo absolutamente incompatível quando você pensar em autonomia, você pensar em coletividade e em cooperação, como você bem disse. Se a gente adotar o sistema ao contrário, ou seja, a minha qualidade tem que ser fixa e o tempo pode ser variável. Mas aí não é um tempo de cronologia, não quero aumentar a quantidade de anos. Aí a tecnologia pode ajudar a gente a acelerar ou a auxiliar esses alunos dentro desse tempo, para que a gente tenha uma qualidade fixa. E a gente inverte essa lógica. Porque hoje a gente tem, como eu disse, prazo fixo, qualidade variável. A ideia é qualidade fixa, tempo variável, e ao tempo aí a tecnologia nos ajudar nesse sentido. Essa é uma bola que eu queria que você comentasse um pouco da tecnologia nesse sentido, não como substituição a nada, mas como facilitador das individualizações dentro de um coletivo.
Okay, hope I'll be able to answer you. When you look at technology, you can talk about disruption that continues what exists and disruption that change completely what exists. So when just in Israel you have more than 200 startups in edtech, in learning technology. In China, you're going to go to China, so China is a gigantic edtech ecosystem. You have, if I'm not mistaken, 2,000 startups just in China. If I understand your question, you're asking, today the system is set, right? It's hard to change the system. It's a long way to change the system. This is what you ask. So how we can use the technology to start implement now, right? I understand your question? Okay. So this is what I mentioned about early adapters. The expression early adapter is part of a theory by Rogers, which is called the diffusion of innovation. You probably heard. It's a simple concept which say that in each market you divide the market by 5 different personalities of customers, and each personality of customer helps you understand how your product or your idea enters the market. So the first 2 parts are innovators and early adapters. Those consist approximately 50% of the market. And the idea of it is when you get to this 50% market share, it's easier to go to the early majority, which is 30%. That's the third part. Now let's take this idea and put it into use inside university. So for example, you have 200 faculty members divided through the same system, through the same idea of 5 different segments. 15% of those 200 are your early adapters. Work with them, not with the rest. But if it's the easier. Use their needs, what they need to change, what they want to do in order to do the change, and not change everything. Just start small. Build on achievements. You need to, okay, what's the difference in personality between early adapters and early majority? Maybe that's the important thing. The early adapters are people that take chances. They're people that only need a promise to do something. They're people who will wake at 3 in the morning for the new iPhone. People who take chances. And the early majority are people who need facts to change their behavior. Those are not the people who will buy the iPhone. They will wait for a lot of people to have iPhone, and then they will buy an iPhone. So you need the facts in order to get to the 30%, which is the big chunk of change. So create enough success and facts of success with this 15%, you'll be able to move forward. So it's just personality differences. I hope I answered your question.
Bom dia. Quero parabenizar a ABMES pelo excelente evento, pelos resultados que está trazendo. Parabenizo também o professor pela excelente apresentação e pela sua disponibilidade, disposição em compartilhar os avanços de tecnologia. Eu queria deixar uma questão relacionada à escola Minerva, que tem trazido um impacto global em termos de sua proposta, e aparentemente ela resgata o aprendizado pela tradição e pela diversidade cultural com os programas que ela faz. Eu queria ouvir um pouquinho a sua comparação de um mundo tão tecnológico como que foi trazido para essa proposta da Universidade Minerva de trazer a tradição e a diversidade, não necessariamente com o aporte tecnológico, mas sim com o aporte realmente de múltiplas experiências e aprendendo pela prática.
Okay, thank you for the question. I really like Minerva. I think beside of their pedagogical approach, they have a great marketing team, which is important. They really know how to tell a story. I would argue that our presentation is not technological. I only bring you example from technology. It's all ideas. It's all ideas. So you can take those ideas and implement them today. And this is, I think, what Minerva did. They really took what's a degree and broke it into a different way of thinking. I don't remember the specifics of their program. It's like 4 months there, and then you have all time, but the idea is the same. If I want to be a bit problematic, I would say people don't want to sit in a class for 1.5 hours. That's period. Nobody learns that way. The workforce doesn't work that way. That's not how you learn in the workforce today. You need to have a new role, you go and do it. That's the way you learn. If I'm remembering correct, Minerva didn't, in my opinion, really found the formula, but it's really testing a new way of doing it. Did I answer your question?
Hi, congrats for your talk. And how do you see the role played by learning analytics on building educational personalized tracks? I mean, I have no doubt about the great potential, but what about it working effectively? Have you seen it working very effectively?
You talk about analytics and data using.
Yes, that's perfect.
Oh, wow. Yes, of course. It started. The Israeli Minister of Education 6 months ago started building their big data unit. So it's really a whole new experience. The ideas I bring of data, it's from other fields. Look at transportation, look at medicine, how they use data and change the way. In education, what I love about the connection between data and education, that you get a whole new layer of data that you didn't have, pedagogical layer. For example, how do your users behave on your online platforms? A lot of data is accumulated and not done nothing with it. You know, how many times people get to answer a question, when they switch from a question to Facebook and why. Those things can really, data can really change the way you create content and the way that you, but I have to say now it's more of a promise than a fulfillment.
The same way you are... No, in the same way. And how about AI? And AI. Yes, you have some examples for us, yes. And maybe virtual reality also.
That's the important thing. Obviously, of the example I gave you are AI examples. The automated, the sense technology is AI based, obviously. But AI and technology as a whole is only a question of what pedagogical goals you want to achieve. And then you'll choose the technology will help you. VR is also a great promise. I read an article actually on the way here about VR. It's a great promise which didn't, it's a technology that exists for 10 years. And you do not see any real commercial use of VR beside gaming. Maybe in professional, how do you say, professional learning, professional, you can use in, you know, in building scenarios. You know, for example, if you are an ambulance driver, you can build a scenario of where do you stop the ambulance and stuff. But it's a very expensive technology. It's maybe the most expensive technology I know, VR. And is it? No, I do not know anybody using it. But as I said, the way that I think we should frame the question is not a technological question, it's a pedagogical question.
Please, how long it takes to get a new patent in Israel? You have a new product and you have to have a patent, okay? How long it takes?
I want to answer this question in two ways. First of all, we'll answer directly. Most of Israeli startups I know go to the US patent. They go and patent in the US because this is the market they want to go. So in Israel, you have a big ecosystem of lawyers and patents. I don't remember how much it takes, but you have 2 years for a prevasory, I don't remember the terms. You have something for a small time and then you continue. But the second part of my answer to you would be that patent, on a business level, patent is less important. Value is more important.
Yes, but not so, because if you have a new product, the one that's built it, they don't want to sell in the market if they have to not take care of his new idea. Mm-hmm. So in my institution, we have some of this problem. For biological, for medical studies, we have some subjects that we cannot take the patent because they have 10 years, 5 years, because here in Brazil, our institutions who takes care of the patent, they not have intelligence, artificial, even biological too. No kind of intelligence works here to take the patents. We have to wait long time, and the students get bored about it and go to do something else. Sometimes we get patent in the United States, but the dollar grows the value, and sometimes for many students, for the institution is not very good. Understand what I mean?
I want to ask a clarifying question. You're talking about patents of the students or patents of the professors?
Professor with students. I don't allow only professors. I allow students and professors. Okay. This is the future. Professors are professors.
No, I'm talking about research-based
research patents. And the product final, the end product. Have to get a patent.
I'm not sure I agree with you.
Disagree?
You know, from a business point of view, from an entrepreneurial point of view, a patent is most of the time something that slow the process, because it takes a long time to take a patent, even in Israel. But I'm not a patent expert. I don't remember how to share with you. But I love to make an inquiry on. You have, for example, in Tel Aviv University or Jerusalem University, they have commercial units, which their job is to commercialize research. And one of the first steps to commercializing those research are patents. So I'd love to see how they work and you know, connect it to you. But I'm not the expert in that field.
Okay, but we must, here in Brazil, have a more intelligent system to short the time.
I agree with you totally.
Because the researchers and the student and the teacher, everybody else, they will be more secure and doing more work. Okay, this is a problem right now. So when you get your intelligence, artificial intelligence, take here to Brasilia. Okay, you will be very good here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Olá. Cumprimentando a todo mundo da mesa, na figura do presidente, Janguier Diniz, eu queria fazer só um paralelo. O Brasil acaba de eleger um presidente de origem militar que está formando um governo com uma influência muito grande de pessoas do meio militar. Então, queria saber, pela sua experiência, sua visão, inclusive pelos problemas que você relatou, como militar, como é que você vê esse paralelo da influência da liturgia militar, da disciplina militar, da educação que é dada e posicionamento, postura em Israel, que a gente escuta aqui sempre falar que o serviço militar é obrigatório, inclusive para as mulheres, e o que isso poderia contribuir para o Brasil em termos de uma mudança de postura em um país que, nos últimos 30 anos, teve os governos ou social-democrata ou de esquerda e que agora passou radicalmente para um outro lado de um mandato que parece ser mais militar.
Okay, then it's explosive question. Very interesting question. I'll tell you why, because beside my work in technology, I opened an NGO that works in Israeli society in order to change the culture into a more sharing culture because of the military experiences. So I have some kind of perspective. I don't know what the defense problem are of Brazil. I don't know what aim you want to use the military for. In Israel, the military is mandatory. Our whole culture, the Israeli culture, not the Jewish one, the Israeli culture is really built around military. It's very incorporated in day-to-day life. You can see it in organizations, you can see it in management, you can see it in culture. Yeah, I'm trying to see how to navigate with this question. I have to say that in Israel there is not a unit that's responsible for military education outside of the military, but it's really incorporated in the Israeli culture, so it's kind of hard for me to give you examples without being problematic. But I'd love to continue afterwards the conversation, so we won't have any headlines from here. No, okay, you know what? Thank you for this focus. Thank you for the focus. The talk in Israel started by the necessity of innovation. The army and the army culture is the engine of innovation in Israel on an historic point of view. from building of a nuclear program and from the cybersecurity point of view, and most of the entrepreneurs who did big stuff are ex-army intelligence officers. So there is a big connection between innovation and military and the army. Obviously, I would argue that the Army training program for cybersecurity is the most advanced education program maybe in the world, because they bring people in 4 months from non-knowledge to top of the world. And it's kind of a secret how to do it. But the impact of it is after the army, those people go out and build companies. So there is a positive connection between the military and innovation. I can say also, I will say a negative connection, just to be balanced here. The military culture is counterproductive to the innovative culture, because military culture is very top-down, very hierarchy culture, right? You have a commander who tells stuff to the soldiers. And in innovation, you need to be totally open to hear everything from anyone and not to stop at hierarchy. So there is that's a problem.
Bom, pessoal, chegando ao final, né? Mais alguma pergunta? Pois é, chegando ao final do nosso último seminário do ano, quero agradecer imensamente ao professor Yaron Edel. Vamos fazer uma homenagem ao professor. It's just a simple award, yeah, to homenage Yaron Edel. Thank you for being here and to divide your knowledge with us.